hi guys to everyone. It's Ada from Pleasant Rock. It's my pleasure to have with us Ross from Cold Years. First of all, how's it going? Easiest
Good,
question.
good. Cold.
Cold. We already talk
Yeah,
about 20 degrees, more than 20 degrees of difference. So let's say 20, 24 degrees of difference.
yeah,
But as
yeah,
well, like I think right now, Cold Years are going, I mean, it's a good moment of the state career releasing a different life.
yeah,
So how do you feel? I mean, about the release because the first single is going really good. Roll with it.
yeah. I think it's like the start of something new for us. I think is
Really?
the
Like a
big.
20 point album?
Yeah, I think it's like a fresh start. I think this is the first record we've made with our current drummer, and we all had such a huge part to play in writing this album. It was like a totally different experience. So, it feels like a really cool place to be as a band right now. So it's exciting. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, because of course, like every musician that join a band brings with him or her the new influences as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So before we just dig a little bit about different life and some difference from the previous album as well, I want to ask about your own personal musical journey, Rose. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
I got into music as a kid, like really young. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I remember my dad like putting this band on the car called Pearl Jam. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then yeah, I kind of like have this like huge I collect a lot of records. Like my dad collects a lot of records. I was brought up in a house that was just full of music. And I remember being like 12 or 13 years old and hearing like the Ramones for the first time. And I was like, I want to write my own music. And that was it. And it was punk rock. And ever since then, it's just been that, all ever
yeah. So
since
that
then.
these big
Yeah.
influences came from the punk rock.
Yeah, the Clash, the Ramones, the New York
Yeah,
Dolls,
yeah,
like all that stuff. I love it all. So it's a huge part of my life. Yeah.
yeah. Because like of course that these are the pillars of the real punk movement, the
Mm.
real punk movement, and in a kind
Mhm.
of way as well influence your own life. This kind of punk movement because it was rebellious. It was changes. There was a big change, like in the history.
I was always getting into trouble as a kid, and I figure this is probably because of that relationship to that music. I always wanted to just rebel.
It's just drummer's fault. It's just drummer's fault. I mean, I think,
Yeah,
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 I,
blame the
I
music.
yeah, but I think maybe just drummer was the last troublemakers, let's say.
Probably the best behaved out of a very bad bunch is what I would say. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and of course, like you mentioned, like this background because growing up in a family with music, surrounded by music, it's always beautiful because we took this for granted. But there are musicians and people that the parents, they surrounded with I don't know, movies, other stuff, or nothing computer at all. So it
Yeah.
was really beautiful from your parents giving you this kind of background of music. But how, I mean, from growing up, you ended up to just form and being in the Cold Years because already guys you've been active for a while. It's not the first album you are releasing. It's not like the first EP.
No.
It's a couple of years. You're getting old almost. No, come on.
Yes, I mean, I was a kid and I was in bands in school and played in a lot of bands all the way through my life. It was always a part of what I did. It was
Oh,
like all the other kids were out playing sports and I was like at home playing guitar. And that was how it worked. And then we've been a band now for 8 years, 9 years this year. So it was like for us, this was like the moment where we were like, right, this is our third record. Like, let's do something different. And I think, I think we've grown a lot as a collective of people who just
yeah.
we've been in some really insane situations. I think when you're touring with your best friends all the time and like seeing different parts of the world and like
That,
it's
yeah.
gonna flow through to the
That's a
music that
beauty. That's a beauty of
yeah.
it because it's like you're all like in real life as well, like homies, like Americans say, like homies, let's say,
Mm.
friends going making trouble, except for
Mm.
experience. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It's just one of these things where we're just a group of people who click and connect and write this music and we've had some incredible experiences, and I'm just hoping for loads more, I guess.
Yeah, because you of course releases let's say a bunch of EPs that as well, it's they were from the past, from the beginning. It's always like
Mm,
a photograph, a memory of your own
mm,
music, of your background. But the first full length that actually came out was Paradise.
hmm
In 20 in the beautiful years of ever 2020, that the year that shapes all of us. So
It was a weird time. We released an album in the middle of a pandemic and couldn't tour
yeah,
it. I think we
the
did
first
like
full length getting
I
in
think
trouble.
we did some dates with Dave Hawes, and then we came off the tour, and then we were like, "Oh, let's make an album," and then they were like, "Cool." So we went and made the record and spent a long time making it, and then
Oh
the release just got
my
pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually we had to put it out. And the label were like, "Yeah, you know what? You have a year of nothing, so just make another album." So we did, and I think that's I'm a big believer in bands that are always writing. So it's like we try to write a new record every single year, and by the time you record it, it's a year later. So,
yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. Yeah.
we're about to release this album, and we've already written like the next one. So it's like it's
Okay,
constant.
so
Yeah.
let's say that now that it's gonna be out a different live, there is already is ready the fourth one. It's almost
Yeah, so A Different Life comes out on the 26th of April, and I would imagine that at the end of this year we'll go make another one. Like that I just want to be creative all the time.
yeah. Let's say that people that follow your music has to be really, really fast to keep on following you. I mean,
Yeah.
all you have to have I think you already have it, like some big, really based fan base that follow you
Mm.
throughout that. But I mean, I think that people that start to knowing you has to really like, okay, start to following you. I don't know on social media, but be careful if someone is following you outside the house. Like,
Do you know this thing? I actually make this joke about this all the time. I hate social media. It's like it's become this thing now where people really care about what TikTok video you have coming up next rather than, the music that you're releasing. It's a weird world that we're in.
I agree
But
with you.
we've got a lot of really cool fans, and we're making some more. I think we have a lot of shows this year. We have some dates ourselves in May, then we're going out with a Dangerous Summer, then we have festivals, and we're about to go and announce this huge long European tour that's coming. We're going to announce this real soon.
Oh, wow,
Um,
it's
I'm probably not
beautiful.
supposed to say that, but it's fine.
It's okay.
Um,
It's between
we
us.
have we have loads of cool stuff, and then the US
Beautiful.
next year too. So it's like,
Really? I
yeah,
mean, claps,
yep.
congratulations, chapeau. It's you
It's gonna
deserve it.
be fun. It's gonna be
Beautiful.
fun. I just want to make loads of friends on the way. It's like
Yeah,
how it goes. Yeah.
yeah. And I see the like, if you're gonna go all around US, maybe I'm gonna suggest some places and some band that you can connect there, that similar background, that maybe goes in trouble, to get themselves in trouble as well. Let's say, yeah, I know someone in the US a lot. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's like you were saying about the social media, I agree with you.
Yep.
Because I don't know if because I'm old from the 80s, let's say late 80s, I don't know if it's that generation that we
I was
were
born in '88, and I can tell you,
but
I don't.
87,
I hate.
87.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate all of it. It's
Yeah.
toxic trash. I can't stand it. It's like,
At the beginning, I just had to remember MySpace. That was that just for music. And it was
yeah,
shit. It was horrible. What was that? You had your top five, you remember your top five friends, and then
yeah,
you got
Bebo, and then we had Facebook. But I think, look, don't get me wrong. I think social media used in the right
used.
way is a great
Yeah,
tool. But I think now it's become an overly dependent thing,
yeah.
where it just nobody really cares about anything else other than that, and it's sad. One of my favorite bands, I think it's the Dirty Nil. The Dirty Nil from Canada. They had a front page spread in
I'm
Kerrang,
gonna check that.
and they had this article, and it was basically like, "Fuck this! I don't want to make videos going grocery shopping. I want to play guitar." And it's like, yeah, it's transferable in some genres, but in some it's not. So.
Yeah, I think that as well because but I think it will depend on the people, of the person. Like you said, it's useful and it can be useful to use in the good way. Let's for example, I ask you to do like a small clip at the end for putting on
Yeah,
TikTok, but I struggle when I have to open that because but I know that for helping musician for spreading more I have to do that. So
yeah.
let's make it kind of likable in a kind of way. And now it's going even worse with the AI. Don't think that, let's forget about that.
It's
Let's
crazy.
forget about that. Give me a pencil and paper, and I'm gonna draw something to you.
Yeah.
Like fucking sketch, like all horrible sketches. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like the head with the line and two hands. That's it.
Yep.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's it. AI. We don't need that. Yeah, that's our generation.
Yeah, yeah. No,
We're
absolutely.
we are in between everything. We're in between everything. We are the one that struggle with that. We don't know who we are. We are the young. We are the older, but we are the younger inside.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know you,
absolutely.
but I still feel in my 20s. I don't know you.
I mean, yeah, I never take myself too seriously. I don't think any of us do. I think it's what keeps you young is just having fun. And I think,
Exactly.
for me, like
And,
music is always going to be fun. Social
and
media is supposed to be fun, but when it becomes like an agenda, uh,
no, and
yeah,
I like that, and I like the as well the message that you spread with your music because that's kind of because of course telling to the people like
yep,
because like we mentioned the first album was Paradise, then of course in 2022 there was Goodbye to Misery.
yep.
From the title we can say okay, it kind of say taking away the sadness or the seriousness.
Mm.
But I want to leave it to you the word about especially the first two album, which is the main, let's say the message, the main topic that you got throughout the first two albums.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It was a weird one. I'd just gone through a divorce at the time, and it was a weird part of my life. I think with Paradise, and like it was one of those things where it was like this longing to be somewhere else, and then Goodbye to Misery was this whole like, you know, goodbye to just all the misery. Like I would call it that. I think back then we were so used to being caged up in our houses and not having any human connection, and
Yeah.
music to me was like this connection that we could have with people, like at a time when everybody felt alone. I think that was a really hard time in everybody's lives.
Yeah.
Um, this record is like this whole new thing where it's like I think it's like we've all kind of forgotten, like you have this weird thing. I don't remember what life was like before COVID anymore. We had COVID, and then we have this hangover period that we're in right now where things are supposed to be back to normal, but they're not quite the same as
No.
they were before it, because I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And now it's like everybody's just settling for whatever hand they've been given after this. And I think a different life to me, like the new record, is just about it's a lot of things. I mean, it
Yeah.
covers like just wanting something more from your life rather than, I mean, it covers everything from love to hatred to, addiction to like mental health issues. Like it covers so many different pieces of
Yeah. So a different life is basically covering, like you're saying, a lot of topics
yeah,
by
yeah.
like with a kind of a new perspective, like welcoming a new perspective, let's say.
I'd say the biggest thing about it's mortality. I think like you get into your 30s and you start thinking about death. You start thinking about like how much time have I got left? Like if I keep on fucking
Oh,
my body up like this every single week, how many
yeah.
more years am I gonna have? And I think it's that thing of that realization that everything in life is like you can't take any of it for granted. Like, and for me, that's what that record represents. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're saying, the friendship that you have with someone, you don't know how for a long that person could be in your life. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it has to die. It could be just even a fight, just something easier.
Mhm.
It,
Yep.
just a love as well. You don't know how it's supposed to last or forever or not. Sometimes it's never forever, or just even like an addiction take away life, days, and every day is once one person told me that every day that goes you spend doing something maybe toxic or not good in your life is a day that you will never have back.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that
So
statement.
yeah, always live it fully in the present. And of course, I mean, like roll with it is out. People are having
Mhm.
fun with that. It's really going really well, and I've been receiving as well all the time from Gillian October promotion a lot of excitement. I think she loves you very very well, and it's beautiful to see this let's say this passion about cold years through
Yeah,
cold years.
yeah.
Um, in all the because of course I have in front of me the track list that I'm not gonna read because of the people have to buy the records and yeah, we're not doing. I'm not so idiot. I still have brain here. Maybe in
Yeah.
10 years I won't have it anymore, but right now I have it.
No, no, it's fine. Yeah.
Throughout the track list, of course, there's the titles, like you mentioned, gave this vibe of welcome, embracing the present, let's say, the
Mhm.
present in any aspect. But
Yeah.
from your point of view, always lyric wise, but as well like sound wise, there's some song that you really like to compose, write, and maybe you're looking forward to perform.
Mhm. Yeah, so like I think there's a song on the record called Sick, which is like this thing about, I went through a long period of I struggled with sleep for a lot of years. Like I always never understood why.
You solve it.
I just couldn't sleep like ever. And it
If
was
you
like
solve it,
it's like it turns out like you having undiagnosed anxiety. You don't even know about
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's like that's this whole song is basically like being to my partner, like, I'm never gonna be the guy that you want me to be because I have all these issues. And it's like this whole feeling of never being enough. And it's this weird song, right, where it has this almost like James Bond kind of thing to it. Because
okay,
I wanted to write a song where it had the strings and like all the big orchestra stuff and like,
wow,
the sliding scales and shit. I
yeah,
wanted that. It's basically like Adele but us, and I was like, this is really cool, and we had the freedom to write it, and it's probably one of the only songs where the demo to the finished product, like there wasn't too much of a
yeah,
change. Everything else like sounds really different, but this one kind of didn't change from the demo to the finished song. I think we always had this vision about it, and
that's
it's gonna be really fun live. Like it's gonna be great fun. I can't wait to play it. There's just yeah.
yeah.
It's
But
great. I
yet,
think it's the song I'm
yeah,
most proud of ever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't you solve the issue of sleeping because I still struggle with it
No,
myself.
no, 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 no. I'm still
Okay, okay,
fucked up.
okay, okay. So
Yeah. My girlfriend will tell you, I go to bed and I like lie and stare at the ceiling till 3 a.m. every day. And she's like, why are you not asleep? And I'm like, I can't sleep. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm reading a history book because it's the only thing that's going to help me fall asleep. It's a nightmare. Yep.
sometimes it's just life and thoughts, and or just behavior that we learned when we were kids.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally.
Cognitive
No.
behavior, that's called. But of course,
Yeah.
like all the sound, because of course your sound is really, I don't want to say, it's not tough. It doesn't give you like the toughness in the head and the shoulder. Like
Yeah. No.
it's light, it's fun, it's easy. But how would you describe it? Your own sound, like in a quote, you say in a
I
word piece, not too much.
I would just say it's super honest punk rock is like what I would call it. Someone
Okay.
always used to say, "Oh, it's Springsteen on steroids," and I'm like, no. To me, it's just punk rock. It's simple. There's no like, we're not a hardcore band. I mean, but there are elements of the songs that are heavier, and I think that'll come out on this record. I think people will probably hear that.
Okay. So
And we all love hardcore music. Like I listen to Turnstile and fucking, all these bands all the time, like constantly, like Dead Swans and like, Carpathian. I love all that music, but that's not us. But for me, what we are is just we're just punk rock.
yeah,
It's all it
I
is.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's say that hardcore as like kind of a, that kind of a integrity and the message is goes, they tell you
Mm.
straight in your face, like a slap on your face when you listen hardcore. And that's maybe the good way of taking the hardcore influences to tell what you want to say. But as well, the sound is straight, it's fun, but it's a little bit more serious. Punk rock is more, okay, this is the message, but take it easy. Just don't make a huge problem. Don't get overstressed. Don't roll with your own anxiety. Like
Mm.
instead of roll with it, don't roll with your anxiety. Like
Yeah.
just take
Yeah.
it easy. And I think that Cold Years will get really far, especially with, like you said, with this album that kinda is a turning point. Like you said, there is a new drummer as well. So
Yeah.
we are talking about members of the band. Just introduce the other guys in the band because we would
So
say
there's myself, there's Louis who plays bass and sings some vocals, and there's Finley who's like our lead guitar player. He spends a lot of time on his bike and taking photographs and does nothing but eat meat out of the air fryer. As it seems, he's actually going to the doctor because he's so tired because he doesn't eat any freaking vegetables. And then you have Jimmy who plays drums, who's like the really analytical guy. He's like a really cool. He's a really nice guy and he's like super smart and he thinks about every question that you ask him. So you ask him a question, it might take him like 3 minutes to give you an answer, but it's a really good answer. And he's a great drummer. And we're all just really good friends. And
That's,
everybody has their own kind of personality in their own place. So it's
that's
really
what
cool.
I think is what I call yours. A,
Yep.
was a different because you have like you said, your own personality, your own influences, your own, and that's gonna give different as well shades of the sound, shades of the
Yep.
band as well. Like,
Yep.
but as in a live set, what we could expect from a live show of Cold Years.
Lots of crowd participation. I like the crowd
Yeah,
to, we get them to do the sing
obsessive.
off. We get them to do all that. We like to have fun. I would say it's loud. It's abnormally loud. Like all of us play really loud. Like that. That's part and parcel. If someone tells us to turn the volume down, it's normally just ignored. And it's really fun. It's loud. There's dancing. There's singing. There's a lot of audience participation because to me, live shows are a connection between you and the people who listen to
And
music.
especially
And it
the
needs to be a
anthems.
connection. Yeah, and that's it. I'm not one of these people that will stand behind the barrier and not come over and say hi. It's like it's a really fun experience for us and the crowd,
Yeah,
hopefully.
and that's something that I'm seeing. I think with the getting old, I'm seeing that as well. Like I'm noticing in the when I see bands interviewing bands and even editing interview, whatever I'm doing, just seeing bands like in their live shows. For example, just stand in a corner. Maybe I can understand if you're shy or something. That's completely. But there are the ones that stay there because just stay there. You have your corner, your square, so there. But then you have these other band, maybe like you mentioned just another band which is thrash metal, but a lot with punk influences, which is called Dust Bolt. The singer
Hmm.
play in the middle of the crowd with all the
Yeah, that's
monsters
cool.
around. That's
I
cool.
love that. I love
That's
that.
not that's not thrash. That's punk influences. It's thrash
Yeah,
metal.
yeah. Not totally. That's some Henry Rollins stuff right there. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, and that's what I think people and fans love it because they respect you, say, so they don't jump over you, making you difficult your own role, like playing, singing. But it's kind of like involved with you as well in the shows, and that's I think what you were saying, and that's
Yep.
what create the disconnection. There is not a social connection like without with this. It's a real
No.
connection, and they get to know you, you get to know them, and maybe now in 10 years you will remember they will remember you and you will remember
Yeah.
them. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. Because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
since your first life, maybe you have, I don't know, in Scotland there are fans where you were the first people that saw you live that still today like the first.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
absolutely. We meet them all the time. So we meet them
yeah,
in all over Europe. So it's great.
yeah. And of course, speaking about live, uh, going for what you can say, of course, we just say more like more practical and um, so when it's there is gonna be some release show for the album announced.
There's some shows in May, and then we have some support shows with the Dangerous Summer, and then we have some festivals, and then we have some Euro dates that are to be confirmed.
Okay,
We're touring all year, so we will be everywhere. It's
so let's say for everyone in Europe, in what a festival area, which is the funnest always all the time, we can uh, we can see you live.
we will be everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it will be
promise.
everywhere. It's like a plague.
Yeah, yeah, like a plague. Yeah, yeah, like a pandemic.
The punk demic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
pandemic. But of course, like in general, like beforehand, if we want really like to see really like a difference from all your own album sound wise, a
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
live. How
Yep.
much? How much is different? Like about the
I'd say
what
it's a
you
lot more punk rock and it goes harder and there's some ballads on there and there's some real
oh
variants. There's no song that sounds the same. And I think that's the big difference this time. We took the formula and we ripped it up and we just went and made an album that we wanted to make. And that's why I think this is. So, yeah.
it's gonna be okay. So Ross, the album, of course, it will be available, I think, in every type of digital platform and as well physical copy.
Vinyl and CDs. Yeah. So everything comes out, it all drops. Like we have pre-sale link on our bio on Instagram for all of the pre-sale. You can pre-order the record, you can pre-save it on your phone. on every one of these platforms that take all your money. Like it's great. That's
So,
great.
so there's every type of for any type for everyone, for the youngest to the oldest that maybe wants to
Yep.
have a vinyl.
There's
Yes,
no
but
excuse not to own our record.
there's well, you plan as well some merchandise like shirts going on for
Lots
the
of shirts. We have lots of new merch landing. We have loads of merch right now. We have something that we'll probably get sued for, like Santa Cruz ripoffs, all this kind of stuff. We have loads of merchandise you can pick up wherever you want, and we have new merch line coming with the record too. So
okay, so there is merchandise not new now, and then with the record there will be some other new merchandise. So
correct. Yep.
for anyone that so there's no excuses for not
No, no,
supporting
no.
Cold Year. So yeah. But one question, Cold Years, what?
What the
Uh,
name?
yeah,
I was drunk and I just figured it out.
best question and best answer. It was supposed to be the beginning question, or maybe not
No,
even the
no.
question, just jump into the mic
I was drunk.
and write it down.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
It's okay.
Okay.
So Ross, we can say thank you so much and see
Thank
you in
you.
Europe then. Maybe in some mosh pit, like hello, do you remember?
We will do. We will. Awesome. Thank you for your time and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was have a good rest of the evening and try to sleep.
I'm
Try
gonna
to
go eat pizza and watch Lord of the Rings. See you later.
the beautiful. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye.
There's something in my head can't escape. I'm paralyzed with dreams that